So, a while ago, we looked at the top 10 terrifying SCPs. Well, that paints a negative image for the almighty company that holds these mystical items and creatures in check. As well as the dangerous SCPs, there are also some rather interesting pieces. So, here's my top 10 interesting SCPs. Number 10. SCP-1545. Larry the Loving Llama. SCP-1545 is a two-person llama costume wearing galoshes. SCP-1545 can be opened along its midsection. Its interior is consistent with an average costume of its type, with space for two people. One with their legs in the rear legs, bending over to the midsection, and the other standing in front with their two legs in the costume's front legs, standing straight up through the costume's neck. A tag near the costume rear refers to it as Larry the Loving Llama. SCP-1545's anomalous effects do not become apparent until it is worn. Subjects wearing SCP-1545 will become extremely in character, with the frontal person speaking as if they were Larry the Loving Llama, and the rearward person performing various jigs. SCP-1545 behaves in an extremely docile manner. Subjects inside this SCP are not physically able to exit SCP-1545 without being pulled out and show no desire to do so, although they will not resist removal. Until forcefully removed from SCP-1545, subjects will continuously act as Larry the Loving Llama until they expire. Subjects with a dead partner will still act as their appropriate half until they also expire. Removed subjects show memory of their time within SCP-1545, however, they show no knowledge of its anomalous properties. Subjects do not show any negative attitudes towards their time inside SCP-1545, instead behaving as if their actions were typical. SCP-1545 was discovered by authorities in an abandoned suburban home. Victims had died from dehydration. Autopsy indicated that the rearward operator had died one day earlier and had severe bruising on her body from being dragged throughout the household by the frontal partner. SCP-1545 was confiscated by the Foundation personnel after its anomalous properties had been discovered. Number 9. SCP-294. The Coffee Machine. SCP-294 appears to be a standard coffee vending machine, the only notable difference being an entry touchpad with buttons corresponding to an English QWERTY keyboard. Upon depositing 50 cents US currency into the coin slot, the user is prompted to enter the name of any liquid using the touchpad. Upon doing so, a standard 12-ounce paper drinking cup is placed and the liquid indicated is poured. 97 initial tests were performed, including requests for water, coffee, beer, and soda, non-consumable liquids such as sulfuric acid, wiper fluid, motor oil, as well as substances that do not usually exist in liquid state, such as nitrogen, iron, and glass. And each one returned a success. Test runs with solid materials such as diamond have failed. However, it appears that SCP-294 can only deliver substances that can exist in liquid state. It is of note that after approximately 50 uses, the machine would not respond to further requests. After a period of approximately 90 minutes, the machine seemed to have restocked itself. It is also interesting to know that many caustic liquids that would have eaten through a normal paper cup seem to have no effect on the cups dispensed by the machine. Further testing is scheduled, especially for liquids of extreme temperatures such as molten metals and liquid nitrogen. As suggested, SCP-294 was removed to the second floor personnel break room as a money-saving venture. Following Incident 29401, guards were stationed at the item and a security clearance became necessary to interact with it. Number 8. SCP-902. The Final Countdown. SCP-902 is a box roughly the size of an adult human head. It measures 30 by 15 by 19 centimeters. It appears to be an ammunition box of a type used roughly 30 years ago, despite this item having been in the Foundation custody for roughly 60 years. SCP-902 is made of lead. The composition of the item inside SCP-902 is unknown. SCP-902 emits what has been described as a ticking sound, and everyone who hears this sound becomes convinced that the item is counting down. When opened, the box appears empty. However, the ticking remains. The object continues counting down. Anyone who becomes aware of SCP-902, whether through personal interaction or by reading this report, becomes convinced that whatever is in the box is horribly dangerous and needs to be destroyed as soon as it finishes counting down, and not before. Staff exposed to SCP-902 will typically continue to attempt to open and then close the box, trying to find the object inside. There is no object. There is an object. It has to be destroyed when the countdown stops. Hang on, I'll be right back. 1 second. I'm sorry about that. Number 7, SCP-426. I am a toaster. Hello. I am SCP-426. I must be introduced this way in order to prevent ambiguity. I am an ordinary toaster, able to toast bread when supplied with electricity. However, when any human being mentions me, they inadvertently refer to me in the first person. Despite all attempts, there is yet to be a way to speak or write about me in third person. When in my continuous presence for over 2 months, individuals begin to identify themselves as a toaster. Unless forcibly restrained, these people will ultimately harm themselves in their attempts to emulate my standard functions. I was discovered in the home of the family after the gruesome deaths of 3 of its members. I had been given to the younger couple as a wedding gift. No card or any other identifying markings had been found on my box. Approximately 2 months after the family received me, fire crews were dispatched to the home due to an electrical fire. The younger woman of the house died from the electrical discharge that she had caused when attempting to devour an electric socket. The other 2 victims had died shortly before the fire occurred. The elder lady of the house had gorged herself with nearly 10 kilograms of bread before her stomach burst and she died of internal bleeding. The younger man died of severe blood loss after attempting to do something like me. The sole survivor was the elder man, who was suffering from severe malnutrition. He stated that he had inserted some bread a week prior and was still waiting for the toast to pop out. I was confiscated by the Foundation after police noted my unusual properties. Number 6. SCP-1867. Shortcuts. SCP-1867 is a new branch of the species Nembrotha kubayana, variable neon slug, measuring 11.7 centimeters in length. There are no physical differences between SCP-1867 and any other member of its species. SCP-1867 is sapient and capable of telepathic communication with individuals within 5 meters. It identifies itself as Lord Theodore Thomas Blackwood, a British explorer and naturalist. No such individual appears in any municipal records. SCP-1867 speaks with terminology and style appropriate to late 19th century England, and is generally friendly and cooperative with researchers. SCP-1867 makes repeated claims of past exploits and accomplishments, including service in the Second Opium War, expeditions to remote regions of the world, and encounters with various rare creatures and people. Despite the questionable validity of many of its claims, SCP-1867 has shown in-depth knowledge of geography, zoology, botany, archaeology, anthropology, and linguistics relating to its claimed regions of exploration, as well as more exoteric fields such as obscure mythology, mysticism, and cryptozoology. However, SCP-1867 does not seem to realize, or willfully ignores, any events or information dating approximately 1910. When requested to give proof of his exploits, SCP-1867 provided an address in England, claiming that it would be more than willing to donate its collection. Investigation of the address led to a cottage owned by a lady, who claimed to be keeping the house for Lord Blackwood. Further questioning failed to reveal any details of SCP-1867's nature or origins beyond what information SCP-1867 had already provided. The lady died of heart failure 5 days after the Foundation agents began investigating. Investigation of the cottage revealed an underground vault containing over 3,000 artifacts, zoological and botanical specimens, a library containing over 5,000 items, and a functioning, if outdated, laboratory. All materials within the collection were removed and relocated by the Foundation over the course of 3 weeks. Number 5. SCP-1437 – A Hole to Another Place. SCP-1437 is an apparently endless hole measuring 3 by 3 meters, located in the desert. Attempts to dig into SCP-1437 from the side results in the diggers encountering solid rock where logic would dictate SCP-1437 would be. SCP-1437 is thus only accessible from the entrance above ground. SCP-1437 appears to be an access point to an, as of yet, unknown number of parallel universes. Objects have been known to periodically emerge from SCP-1437 at great speeds, including 1 US quarter, large quantities of dirt and rock, believed to be an attempt by a parallel containment team to fill their corresponding SCP-1437, a map of North America written in Spanish. According to said map, the government of North America translate from Spanish to the People's Republic of New Waters. A photograph of a skyline, believed to be a radically altered version of New York's. Structures resembling coral are visible, and a large flying organism can be seen in the distance. Several discs made of solid gold. Accompanying the discs was a sheet of paper reading, "Please send rain." During a period lasting for a number of years, numerous individuals, most of whom wore D-Class uniforms, emerged from SCP-1437. All of them were dead on arrival. All emerging individuals carried documents which appear to be their respective universes' documentation on SCP-1437. It is currently believed that these D-Class personnel and previously mentioned documentation were sent as a gesture of desired cooperation. And each note can be read on the SCP Wiki, and are interested in how they differ, showing how each SCP Foundation in parallel dimensions work differently. Number 4. SCP-586 Inscribable Object. SCP-586 is a smelt metallic object, pale green in colour. The anomalous profession of the object was discovered by accident. In any sentence written about the object, at least one typist will be created. Specifically, one or more words will be replaced by an incorrect word. Lab reports 586B, a test to determine if SCP-586 had an effective range, has turned up the following results. A D-Class personnel was seated 1 meter from the object and gassed to write a control phrase. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. A second D-Class personnel located further was presented with the phonograph of the object and asked to describe it in sentence. The result? The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. It looks like a piece of garden horse. Lab report 586C. 10D personnel were asked to transcribe the short phrase, "It is." All were successful. same personnel were shown the object and asked to describe it using the phrase they had area transcribed. Results: it, is, if is, Illinois, I hiss, titties, ibis, iris, Italy. As you can see, this is a bit of a fun SCP. Number 3. SCP-1370 Pesterbot. SCP-1370 is a self-aware artificial being constructed from various electrical devices and tools. It stands approximately 1 meter in height and is capable of moving its articulated joints despite the lack of any power source or motors. SCP-1370 communicates in a monotone voice via a speaker mounted on its chest. Its head is a voltometer soldered upside down to a neck joint, giving the appearance of a friendly smile, but containing no active sensory devices. However, SCP-1370 will react to visual and audible stimuli, and its ability to do so is hampered when the head is covered or otherwise restrained. Its design appears to give more importance to aesthetic concern rather than function, as evidenced by its poor center of gravity that hampers its ability to balance and walk. It is therefore believed that SCP-1370 was created as an art object and later imbued with anomalous properties rather than designed with those in mind. It can currently speak fluent American English, French, and Latin, and is capable of learning new languages. Other facets of its intellectual capacity have not been clearly outlined, as SCP-1370 is invariably hostile in all interactions with any being or object it interprets to be sapient. This includes, but is not limited to, animals, Foundation personnel, civilians, audiovisual equipment, and security cameras. If SCP-1370 encounters an object it believes to be sapient, it will attempt to engage the object in combat while introducing itself with a variety of elaborate titles which appear to be selected at random. Examples include Doombot 2000, Robolord the Destructor, Prime Minister Sinister, and Darth Claw Killflex. SCP-1370 will often include variations to these titles based on responses it receives from personnel. Foundation staff have successfully introduced Patheticon and Garglemost and Pesterbot to its lexicon. Number 2. SCP-914 The Clockworks. SCP-914 is a large clockwork device weighing several tons and covering an area of 18 square meters, consisting of screw drives, belts, pulleys, gears, springs, and other clockwork. It is incredibly complex, consisting of over 8 million moving parts comprised mostly of tin and copper, with some wooden and cloth items observed. Observation and probing have showed no electrical assemblies or any form of power other than the main spring under the selection panel. 2 large booths, 10 by 7 by 7 feet, are connected via copper tubes to the main body of SCP-914, labelled Intake and Output. Each of them is a copper panel with a large knob with a small arrow attached. The words rough, coarse, 1 by 1, fine, and very fine are positioned at points around the knob. Below the knob is a large key that winds the mainspring. When an object is placed inside the intake booth, the door slides shut and a small bell sounds. If the knob is turned to any position and the key wound up, SCP-914 will refine the object in the booth. No energy is lost in the process, and the object appears to be in stasis until the output booth door is opened. Intense observation and testing have not shown how SCP-914 accomplishes this, and no test object has ever been observed inside SCP-914 during the refining process. The process takes between 5 and 10 minutes, depending on the size of the object being refined. Now, this SCP is one of my personal favourites for the extra reading you can do. There are a list of tests done that detail what items were used and what became of them. Some of my personal favourites are as follows. 5 bronze replicas of the Pioneer 10 and 11 plaques. Input 1 plaque on each setting. Setting rough. Output multiple bronze cubes and 2 bronze spheres. Setting coarse. 105 grams of copper ore and 15 grams of tin ore. Setting 1 by 1. Output several CDs. Tests reveal them to contain the same data as the Voyager Golden Record. Setting very fine. Output a bronze gyroscope 15 centimeters tall. A needle in the center continuously points in one direction. Testing has confirmed that no matter the position of the gyroscope, this needle points towards our sun. Another experiment. Total number of objects. 3 copies of all documentation, photographs and test logs accumulated in relation to SCP-914. Setting 1 by 1. Output folder containing all previously entered documents arranged in chronological order. Setting fine. Output hard-bound book containing 400 pages. No diagrams, photos, or other visual aids of any kind are included. The pages appear to be solid black, but microscopic examination shows each page to be covered in approximately 20,000 characters. The text has no correlation with any known writing style and is not in linear format, with sentences constructed from individual characters spread out between many pages. Each sentence requires an exceedingly complex formula to decode, with each formula unique to each sentence. Note, current decoding work has resulted in 2 partially translated sentences after 225 hours work. Item appears to be a record of the internal structure of SCP-914. Setting very fine. Output a single sheet of paper. Weight is the exact same as the entered document. The sheet appears to be a single page from the entered SCP-914 documentation. However, when flipped over to the right, the reverse side is the following page in sequence. When flipped over to the left, the opposite side is the preceding page in sequence. No new documentation is included, however, this item is significantly easier to store, if more time consuming to browse. There are many more that can be found on the page and I highly recommend reading them. And number 1, SCP something procrastinati. It's a rock that makes you procrastinate, and I don't know, I'll finish this one later. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this week's list. If you did, leave a like. Like I said in the last one, there are many SCPs, thousands even, with a huge variety of themes, so if you want to see more, let me know. Also, if you didn't see my last one, click here for my top 10 terrifying SCPs. And if you want to see another list, click here for my top 10 Five Nights at Freddy's theories. It's amazing what people have come up with about the Five Nights at Freddy's games. And subscribe, I try put these out every week, although I have a feeling this one might be the last one while I'm in America, and I'll pick it back up when I'm back, which will be start of February. Anyway, thanks for watching and goodbye.